This is Trophy Gold, top of the world. We are going to be playing Trophy Gold, which is available for free. The whole rule set is available for free on the Trophy Gold Kickstarter page. You can find that by going to trophy-rpg.com. The incursion we're playing is Top of the World. That is going to be featured in an upcoming issue of the Codex magazine, the one that will be running through late September and October, called Codex Home. So if you want to get that, go support our Patreon, which is patreon.com/gauntlet. And with all that said, it's the four of us today. I want to do a little quick housekeeping note for people who have been watching the videos. I have been doing armor incorrectly heretofore. The way it works is when you go back to town, your armor is unmarked automatically because you have burdens. The burdens count for armor upkeep, so you don't have to spend gold to unmark your armor. I've already talked to the players about that off camera, how we're going to handle that. Basically, we just added more gold to their hoard. Now, with that said, the last time we saw your characters, they had just finished up the Huntsman's Manor incursion and had gone back to Fort Durin. And something that everyone's been talking about a lot is going to the capital city of Ambaret in order to turn in some of these, or cash in some of these higher value treasures you've managed to get your hands on. And so I think we're going to have a session in Ambaret so that you can do that. I am not super interested in role-playing the cashing in of these various things, so we will just let you do that as you wish. Anything that you want to cash in at a higher value because it would be, because, you know, like that banknote or like a thing that's particularly valuable to someone in Ambaret, you could just do that and just add the amount to your gold, your gold number and your equipment. So you'll have a bunch of gold, some of you, right at the outset of this incursion. So meeting your burdens shouldn't be too much of a problem for this incursion, which is fine for the way the incursion is going to go. So just if everyone could just kind of like say what that's going to be that they're cashing in, that would be great.
I know I'm on my roster here. I've got a painting by Agino.
Mm-hmm.
And
I will tell you that the Agino's painting is a magic item if you don't want to cash it in. You don't know what it does yet, but just as an out of character thing, it is a magic item. Maybe finding out what it means can be something that we can focus on at some point, or what it does. But just know that.
All right.
Anything else that you wanted to cash in Ambaret, Corporaluk?
Not that I know of. No, I think everything else has been cashed in already.
I see the banknote on your equipment list. Did you do that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I said that. Yes, the banknote is there. So the banknote for sure. Yes.
Okay, yeah. You can go ahead and just put 4 gold in your little thing and erase that if you want.
No, okay, we'll do.
Diane, anything that you need to cash in Ambaret?
No.
Osto, what about you?
Nope, just holding that bestiary.
The bestiary, yeah, that's right. Good. Okay, great. So we have some gold on the table. Awesome. Here's the thing. You have been in Ambaret for a number of weeks already. We are starting with you having been in Ambaret. You've managed to find buyers for the, or you have things appraised and do all the kinds of stuff you're doing. And, you've been involved in maybe some little smaller jobs that we, aren't going to see on screen necessarily, but we know they happened. You've been in Ambaret for, I would say, probably, I don't know, a good 5 weeks, say. And in that time, you have really managed to do well for yourselves, socially speaking. In fact, you have managed to get an invitation to a fabulous ball at the Royal Palace in Ambaret. I would like to know from Brian, how did the characters manage to get this highly coveted invitation?
What if we, kind of the somewhat heroic explorer types that we are, who also have some habits of lingering in taverns and bars. What if Osto unknowingly rescued from sort of a drunken brawl the child of a member of the royal family?
Like some princeling or something like that.
Yeah.
Got it. I like that. Osto, are you cool with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
So at the ball, things started to go pear-shaped for the three of you. A question for Drew. What did the treasure hunters do that was... Okay, so here's what happened. You all did something that is causing you to currently be chased out of the palace across the rooftops of the city. What did you all do that caused this to be the case that is making you currently enemy of the state #1?
Oh boy. Knowing that nobles are generally a little touchy, I could see Osto, maybe Korkuluk saying something meant to be funny or a little bit in jest, but clearly making fun of someone, but saying it to the absolutely worst person, and everything just kind of snowballs.
Can I add on to that?
Please do.
There is a painting hanging in this location where this royal ball is taking place. And I get just a little snarky about, I've got a painting by Agino too. And as I kind of step back, kind of a little chuffed with myself about, pleased at having made a great little connection, I step back and bump into a really nice ornate porcelain vase, which of course tips, and there's that moment where there's sort of the bumbling attempt to catch it, and it just finally shatters and collapses, and then that leads to yet another thing being broken, and we have
so far you've managed to insult a very highly placed member of the royal court. You've, in several ways, it seems, you've destroyed things. What was the final stake through the heart of your social status, Blaine? What did the treasure hunters do? What's the thing that truly sparked the escape here?
Let's see. I don't know, I'm coming up blank. Let's see. So we haven't really tied Diane into this aside from that he's associated with him. So it's definitely something Diane did, I think.
Yeah, just to get all three of you,
yeah,
fully in everyone's bad graces here. Is it something possibly related to your medicinal talents that maybe went sideways with some lady of the court?
Yeah, like maybe he like notices something in her complexion and suspects she has like some, relatively minor disease, and like suggests she take a dose of these herbs, but manages to put it across, in which case it's like it's like those herbs are otherwise well known for like being a cure for a venereal disease or something.
Nice. Further insult. Good. I think at a certain point, the king just is over it, and he says, "Arrest those people," and the royal guard is in hot pursuit. And this is where we will find you at the beginning of the incursion, top of the world. So named because most of it will be spent on the rooftops of the city. So I want to do some establishing questions as well, because here's the thing. For some of you, at least, in particular for Korkaluk, you didn't accomplish something you really needed to set out. You were kind of needing to do while you're in Ambaret. I think you probably thought you had a few more weeks before you were going to have to make a hasty retreat to safety, possibly out of the city, right? And so I want to start with Korkaluk. Korkaluk, Patience Davies, who is the woman in the porcelain mask that you have encountered a couple of times now, she has tasked you with retrieving something very valuable from the Grand Basilica in the city of Ambaret. You just haven't had time to go look for it yet. The Grand Basilica is enormous. It's like a neighborhood all on its own. What did Patience want from the Grand Basilica?
Remember that I'm in love with her. I have this condition that I'm quite enamored. What she's asked for is a reliquary, a ornate domed gold filigreed structure which contains the hand of a saint, or what's rumored to be the hand of a saint, kind of half mummified. But there are rumors that that's not the real treasure, that there's something in the base.
Now, I'm going to suspect that, or I'm going to guess that in the Grand Basilica of Ambaret, which is an enormous compound of small chapels and cathedral spaces and things like that, how will you know the reliquary you're looking for? What will be the identifying mark? Or I should say, I think there's probably going to be lots of reliquaries. How will you know the one that you're looking for?
Given her sort of insect nature, does it work if the fingernails are faintly etched with sort of the pattern of a beetle carapace? Each nail is a slightly different beetle.
I like that. So the reliquary has a hand in it? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. Yes. Correct.
Okay, great. Good. I like that. You don't know what it does, though. She didn't tell you what it does, just that she wants it. Okay.
So, yeah.
Osto, an establishing question for you. Someone who was key in getting your brother sent to Barsoul prison lives in Ambaret. What about their physical appearance would allow you to spot them at a distance? And what would you do to this person if you could get your paws on them?
So I think that it's someone who actually grew up in the same orphanage with Osto and his brother, except after, I apologize for the dog barking. After getting out of the orphanage, they started a kind of thieves gang. And so when Osto's brother went trying to find the cure for the beast-bitten condition, he recruited or got himself mixed up with this guy. And that person sold him out. And I think he has a shock of white hair that he normally covered up, but Osto would recognize it from when they were children. And Osto would definitely want to cause some harm, at the very least.
Good. Yeah, I love it. It's great. Thank you. And Diane, those who suffer under a gesh from the Witch of Navask have a mark on them that is highly visible to others who have suffered that fate, but is otherwise invisible to everyone else. So basically, you would be able to see someone who is under a gesh, and they would be able to see you, but other people can't see this mark. What is it?
I think it's like, in order to like actually lay the gesh, she has to touch bare skin, and like for those who have the mark, they can see just like a writhing black discoloration of the skin in that spot that she touched them. And I think like usually it's sort of like, you know, the casual touch of the face, like endearing like thing. I think Diane, for whatever reason, she touched the back of his hand.
But it could be any part of someone's body, right?
Yeah, it's anywhere, but it has to be bare skin, so usually it's somewhere pretty visible.
Good. Thank you. And so we find you, oh treasure hunters, having been chased through the royal apartments, exiting the royal apartments through a 5th-story window, attempting to find your way across the city without doing your best to not touch the ground so that you don't call the attention of the royal bloodhounds. And who are even now, these royal bloodhounds, scouring the city for your scent. The word has been put out. It is spreading fast throughout the city. Will you avoid the watchful eyes of the criers roaming the downtown alleys, seeking the bounty on your heads? Will you skirt the sinister element that might take unkindly to their haunts being used as a highway? It will require all your cunning and skill to find a path to the western wall and egress from the city. But you've faced worse conundrums than this. And perhaps along the way, you will even find gewgaws and knickknacks atop the gables and sloping eaves as to make this hasty journey a profitable one. Our theme is rooftops, and the sets flow in one direction on this one. One leads to the next one, leads to the next one, leads to the exit. And the first set is the Silver Terraces. The Silver Terraces, the set goal is lose the royal guards pursuing you from the palace. So, the neighborhood called the Silver Terraces by its residents and Nob Hill by everyone else features lavish townhouses and urban mansions that take up entire blocks. Elaborate displays of wealth and vanity can be seen on every corner and in every architectural flourish. Even the roofs of these houses are ostentatious. What more extravagant display of wealth can there be than gilding a cornice that no one but the birds will ever see? Right? Other details you can expect to find: wide expanses of immaculately finished shingles, elaborate rooftop greenhouses, terraces where exclusive parties can be held high above the clamoring passersby below. This is where you find yourself. And initially, you've managed to sort of get a bit of a breather from the royal guards by slipping out this window. But they will always be in hot pursuit, at least in this set, until you escape them. I think down below you can hear the playing of a chamber orchestra in some ballroom. You've been hearing that, and it provides a sort of interesting counterpoint to your desperate flight. And the late afternoon light sort of dazzles you as you are sort of, running straight into the sunset. It makes it hard to see the way, but it will make it equally hard for any pursuers to see you. And all around there are varied and heady aromas of multi-course gourmet feasts wafting from triplicate chimneys. Your mouths are watering, but there is no time to get comfortable. A few things you notice as you take a breather. You see across the way what appears to be a gilded cage with a fabulous hunting falcon inside of it, sitting on a rooftop. You've heard stories of this falcon. You have been involved in the royal court long enough to have picked up that this is likely the hunting falcon of a one Sir Peregrine. This hunting falcon is legendary. Arrowhead is his name. Extremely valuable to the right buyer. In case you, and it's just, you know, a hop, skip, and a jump over to another rooftop if you're interested. And you also happen to be right now at this moment immediately above Madame Heathertop's Academy for the Betterment of Young Ladies, a private school where girls from broken homes are turned into young ladies capable of properly serving the families of Nob Hill, nay, the Silver Terraces. It's a sprawling old mansion with many gables and turrets and odd little terraces. There's likely something inside this place worth taking a look at. And very, very far across the way, there is a crane, a rooftop crane. You have seen these things from a distance. They're one of the first things you notice when you entered Ambaret, because it's the only type of environment where such a thing exists. These heavy, intricate machines that are used to pick up large loads of bricks and plaster and things like that from the street below, to deliver them to roofs being renovated and that kind of thing. But it would also maybe serve as a nice device for dropping heavy loads upon a pursuer if it comes down to it. In any case, let's just have that scene with you all catching your breath, and then we'll decide where you're going from here.
So I think Osto would be very intrigued by the falcon and probably just staring at it, wondering if it's even worth considering freeing it to sell, because what are they going to do with a falcon? But also just the animal instincts in him are kind of galled at it being in a cage, gilded, even though it is.
Yeah, I like that very much. Corkluck, what are you doing?
Well, being a mannequin, I don't really need to catch my breath quite that much. So part of me is more just doing an analog systems check just to kind of make sure I didn't break any more parts in fleeing away from this mess. I feel like maybe I pull a piece of broken pottery out of my thatched hair and kind of like, oh, that's not mine. Flick that off to the side. Gentlemen, I'm sorry for what my ego got the better of me there with that painting. I thought it was going to be a bonding moment where I might finally, work my way into the right part of society, be able to track down a link to lead me to my mentor, and I got the better of me. So I'm sorry for this ruckus. Haste seems to be important right now, and I can't see anything portable in the way of treasure coming out of a crane, so I would vote for trying to, in our escape, perhaps loot a light-winged bird with us. Seems the most portable of treasure to take along.
Diane, meanwhile, is probably like wheezing up a storm because he's not as athletic as the other two. And just sort of like in that gasping way, like, I suggested that she take a dose of Sprigganwort.
Osto, I'm going to give you a hunt roll for scoping out the gilded cage with Arrowhead, the legendary hunting falcon in it.
Right.
What do you think about skills or equipment that might be helpful, if any?
I have a spyglass. Could
Oh, perfect.
take a closer look.
Yep. Roll 2 dice. Hunt 2.
Okay. It's a 5.
Nice. Go ahead and take a token. And you encounter something terrible. Here's the terrible thing you encounter. You look across the roof, and Sir Peregrine is there. You recognize him. You've seen him at some functions that you got invited to after you rescued the princeling. And Sir Peregrine is he's on the roof. The sun is still, it's late afternoon, the sun's still in the sky, but it's getting low. And he's doing like sun salutations, like stretches, he's praising the sun right now from the roof. And he's even calling out. He's like, nourish my body, glowing titan that feeds us all with your energy and your warmth. Can you feel the warmth, Arrowhead? Isn't it magnificent? And Arrowhead kind of squawks, or whatever falcons do. Getting over there may not be too much trouble, but you may have to deal with Sir Peregrine.
So would Sir Peregrine recognize Osto?
Yes, I think for a time you had like a bit of a reputation in court because of your bravery.
Okay. So I would point this. Oh, important question: was Sir Peregrine involved in the debacle today? Would he have been?
He is. He was not at the ball, so okay. Yeah, he may not know about that yet.
So I would report to the others that Sir Peregrine's there, and we met, and I'm not sure I'd call us friendly, but perhaps he could help us get to where we need to go if he hasn't heard about the mess we've made.
Let's go for it.
So what do? Do you just call out to him or something, or?
I think he'd start with that. Yeah, yoo-hoo, and wave and try and look friendly. Maybe stand in front of Diane so he doesn't see the out of breath.
Yeah, like you're running. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. He turns and he says, "Oh, I can't quite make out who you are for the sun, but hello."
It's Osto. We met at Sir Smithing's thing a couple weeks back.
Oh yes. You're that gentleman that saved young Prince Corwin. Names. What are you doing on the roof of the girls' school?
We're just taking in the sights while we're in Ambaret. We wanted to see the famous rooftops of Nob Hill.
Nob Hill?
Oh, I'm sorry, the Silver Terraces.
Better. Yes. Yes, I can see the advantage of wanting to get a different perspective on the city. It is certainly a thrilling sight, wouldn't you say? Do you do stretches and meditations and exercise, Osto?
Oh, yes. And he starts trying to mimic motions in a clumsy, like he does not do yoga.
This feels like a good risk roll. What are you hoping to accomplish right now?
to try and come across as friendly, and maybe people who he would like to invite inside or further help.
I love that. Brian and Blaine and myself, we need to offer some thoughts on what could go wrong here.
I mean, the guards could show up.
The guards could show up. That's a good one. That's kind of where I was going. I was going to maybe even say, like, the guards are somehow in the house. Like, if you go inside, they're like there talking to the maid or something. Yeah. Brian, any thoughts?
That Sir Peregrine has not just, it has this valuable falcon kind of out visible, but it has a collection of other animals that are sort of out of sight, that will involve Osto's sensibilities, whether it's a cage of rodents meant to be fed to the falcon, or
Maybe he's got a bear in the living room.
a bearskin rug laid out and a
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
hound laying on it. There's going to be something once we're invited aboard.
Those would be good devil's bargains too. Okay, so let's take a look at your die pool. So you get a light die if you can incorporate if you're skilled because of your occupation, background, or training, or because you're taking advantage of a piece of equipment or the environment.
I don't think I've got anything.
Let's see here. Yeah,
Unless
unless you find something in your backpack, but your skills don't seem very applicable here, unless you want to make a really good case for, I don't know.
Would anything in the bestiary possibly interest him?
Oh, if you mention it right now, yeah, I think so. If you make that part of your play here, I'm into that. If you're going to do that, you can take a light die. Devil's bargains. I love the idea, inspired by Brian's, and we'll steal it a little bit, but I love the idea of you go and, like, no matter what, Sir Peregrine has a bear chained up in his sitting room. I think that would be amazing. So
I like that. Yeah, I'll take it.
Well, we'll see if the others have any offers, but everyone gets to make an offer.
Another one, maybe more destructive, is that if you offer up Neryl's bestiary here, that Sir Peregrine just needs to see the page for the hawk falconry kind of entries, and just rips the page right out in front of you. Just
Nice.
Okay.
Blaine, any offers?
Nothing as good as the other ones. I was thinking, like, maybe the going into the house gets us low enough that the hounds get our scent.
Well, that feels like an advantage. That feels like an easy. I would want there to be some sort of complication there if it's going to be that. Yeah, I don't know if that.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't have anything good.
Yeah, I just don't know if it really quite follows as a devil's bargain. They don't always have to be negative, but it feels like a power up to me.
Wait, the hounds getting our scent is a good thing?
Oh, I thought you said they were going to lose the scent.
No, getting our scent.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I totally misheard you. Yeah, that's great.
I think I'll go with the bear. And I think as I'm trying to make conversation with Sir Peregrine, I'll kind of mention that, that your bird looks like something that we saw in Neryl's bestiary.
Let's have a roll. Let's see how this goes. Roll 2 light dice, or risk 2.
Got a 6.
Nice. It says, Neryl's bestiary. Have you seen that book?
We have. In fact, I may have it on my person.
You have a copy of Neryl's bestiary? Oh, surely you jest, sir. Surely you jest.
Not about bestiaries.
he was about to do a headstand, but then when he heard this, he like kind of fell down, right? What are the chances that you would be on the roof across the way from me right now, at this moment, in possession of one of the most valuable books known to huntsmen and sportsmen across the land? They say that all the copies were lost, that there maybe perhaps were never copies, that there is only the one. I would like to look at this book if you truly have such a thing.
I think that would be okay.
Very well. And he goes and he gets out some long wooden planks to cross the rooftops that you can walk across to go to his rooftop. As you're going across, Diane, you look down and you see one of the young women from Madam, I already forgot her name, from Madam Heathertop's academy. You can see her down below bringing in clothes from a carefully hidden clothesline. The clotheslines are hidden carefully so that the posh people of Silver Terrace do not see such things. There's a hedge on this terrace where the clothesline is. And this young woman has that swirling black mark on her face, indicating that she's under the gesh of the Witch of Navask. Diane, what do you do?
So this is like as he's crossing the boards, and I think he sees that and just stops like halfway across, glances at them. It seems like, Sir Peregrine is like this more focused on Osto in the book. So he's just going to like, tap Crocker on the shoulder and sort of like indicate that he's leaving. So he's not like leaving no word, but he's not going with them.
Crocker, I guess, I assume you're going with Osto.
Yeah, I'll stick with Osto right now.
Okay. Let's start with Osto and Corklek going across the roof, and we'll talk about Diane in a minute. Sir Peregrine, he steps up to you. He's got a sheen of sweat from his exercises, and he says, "Well, I must say, you have certainly gotten my attention." He's like in his late 40s, has like kind of dark hair and a goatee. He's a very, he considers himself a sportsman, a hunter. He's a falconer. He considers himself a man of the land, but he like lives in this really fabulous posh apartment, right? Like, it's a little bit of a pretense, right? And you see Arrowhead in this gilded cage atop the roof, and he says, "You definitely know how to get someone's attention, and oh my, your friend, what a funny look you have, sir. Don't take that the wrong way."
I'll do a little bow.
Is that a colander on your head?
Well, yes, it is, but of remarkable craftsmanship.
Yes, it does look like one of the finer colanders I've seen. Not that I've seen many, mind you, but, I'm a man of the world.
It lets the scalp breathe.
I can see that, yes. There is a certain logic to it, isn't there? Well, would you like to come in and we can have tea and take a look at your alleged copy of Neral's Bestiary?
Oster would look at Corkalook and kind of raise a questioning brow, like, are we missing someone? And but say yes, we would we would enjoy that, just to get off the roof.
I'd like to ask a question here. This would be a good time to ask it. Presumably, when you went to the ball, you dressed for the occasion, right? I'd like to know what you're each wearing right now that like is a little bit more fancy, or or ready for the social scene, as it were.
I think Osto, he's not used to wearing clothes that fit properly, that can't accommodate his changes. So he's wearing kind of well-fit pants and a simple button-up shirt, maybe a light jacket, but he's constantly like fidgeting with them, pulling the sleeves, pulling up the chest, and just feels very constrained, but very simple.
Yeah, Cork, how are you? How are you gilded right now?
The period equivalent of a white tuxedo with a vest and tails, yet to accommodate, various little twigs and vines poking out. There's beautifully embroidered tiny holes where there's a twig sticking out here and a vine trailing out there, and a nice red kind of cravat.
I love it. Good. And let's swing over to Diane. Let's have that scene with Diane and this girl at the school. I will ask you, Diane, what are you wearing for the ball?
He's wearing something relatively simple, but made with like high quality materials, and like he went and like talked to the tailor specifically and is like, I want you to use this, this, and this, and like had it custom made for him. It's like a rich blue doublet and like, well-fitting. Let's go with like light gray pants.
That's good. I love it. So this little terrace is like one story below where you're at, right, from the roof. And you see this woman. She's, taking the clothes in and hanging things up and whatnot. You see her mark, and you're up on a on a piece of timber, crossing these two buildings. What do you do right now?
I think he finds like a spot where he can like get her attention, and then he'll just sort of like do a psst, and then like he'll raise his hand when she looks up so she can see his mark, and then he'll like try and get her to come to him.
Oh, good. I like that. This feels like a risk roll. You've said what you're trying to accomplish. Brian and Drew, what could go wrong here?
I think whatever he puts his foot down on will break away and crash to the ground, making a fair bit of noise.
Yeah, I like that. It's pretty good.
Madam Heathertop is within earshot and hears this little psst, psst. She's very alert for such noises around her academy.
That's good. I like it. I don't think I have anything better than those two, so we'll go with some version of one of those. Great. Let's take a look at your first die. Do you have any skills or equipment that are appropriate here?
I could go with like the curses, because like
you have a curse. Yeah.
And like I know that she has a curse, and she probably knows she has a curse, so seeing that mark would probably, I suspect she has like the same knowledge of that.
Right, yeah. And she would be excited to hear about somebody who has the same mark, right?
Right.
So, yeah, that's pretty good. Devil's Bargains.
Stories.
Yeah, that's good. Devil's Bargains. Devil's Bargain is no matter what, you somehow end up in a linen closet just outside the dining hall where all the young women take their dinner. Who knows how you're going to get there, but you're going to get there. That's my offer.
I got a more
What if
simple one that you simply, once descended, are not able to, if you descend to speak to this person, or need to, are not able to rejoin us, and so we're separated.
what if going down you get some sort of oil or otherwise a big obvious mark on you that will make you easier to spot or mark you as having come in not the proper way?
Yeah, it's pretty good too. Yeah, some good choices there, Dan. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the linen closet is just too juicy to pass up.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Good. She looks up and she says, "Oh my goodness, you've seen her. You were you did you used to serve the Witch of Navask also?"
I used to be under her protection. I managed to squander it.
I used come down here, I'll help you. And she's gonna help you. Like, oh, we need to roll out, actually.
Yeah.
Let's get your roll going.
Yeah, so that's 2.
Okay, yeah, 6, good. Since we started role playing a 6. She's like, come down. She's like, here, I'll help you. She's like, I didn't think I would ever meet anyone else who had been so afflicted.
Yeah, and he'll like find a way down. Like she probably knows like a better way to climb up there than he would since she lives here.
Good.
Maybe she like finds like she points out like a lattice work that he can climb down.
Oh, nice, good. Yeah, I like that. Awesome. Let's cut back over to the apartment of Sir Peregrine, which is just one flight of steps down from the roof. Like, you're right there, so you can get back to the roof easily if you need to. It is very posh. Let's do a paint the scene question. What do you see that indicates that he is the most pampered hunter and trapper you've ever known? Everyone can answer.
I think he has some weapons mounted on the wall, but they're all so ostentatious that they're almost useless for their actual function.
Nice.
Picturing, arrayed very carefully on mannequins rather than on pegs, sort of the hunting strap, satchel, pouch, bandoliers, things like that. But several matched sets, each barely used in slightly different colorations to match different attire.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Diane's not there, but I have something too.
Please say.
I think there's like as you're walking through the halls, like you see a room with an open door, and there's like a very, very famous hunter there who he has just like as a live-in hunting assistant.
Nice. I love that. Like a tennis pro to some rich guy or something, right? Yeah, it's good. Who only works for that guy. I love it. He calls out to that guy. He says, Reginald, would you bring us tea, please? And Reginald, he sort of like says, yes, sir, and kind of clumps off to go get tea. And he says, I know. Let's go to the sitting room. There's something in there that I think you're going to find very interesting. Don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. Come. And he leads you across a hall to his sitting room. And there is indeed a large bear, big one, grizzly bear, chained to a spot in the living room, sitting atop a massive silk cushion. He says, "What do you think?"
Would Osto be able to spot like anything indicating that the bear's being mistreated, or
Do a hunt roll.
two?
You encounter something terrible. It's a beast bitten. How do you know?
I think in just that same way that like knows like, he can see it, he can tell, and yeah.
The bear looks over at you, and there's a definite like mutual recognition going on, right? Even though you're cured, you still have, he's obviously not cured. He can't. He's stuck as a bear, right? Or she, I suppose. He says, "Well, come, please sit. Trust me. That fellow will not hurt you. He's as gentle as a lamb." He says, "Aren't you Button?" That's the bear's name, Button. He goes up and he actually tousles Button's fur. Button gives a growl and he kind of backs off a little bit. He says, "So let's have a seat, pull up a chair, let's take a look at this bestiary, shall we?" What are you doing in the meantime, Corporal?
Does Button like liver?
Maybe, I don't know.
A thing I seem to encounter that,
Yeah.
bears seem to have a taste for liver.
Bears like liver is a thing.
There might be an entry on that in the bestiary. We should definitely take a look.
What are you up to, though, Corporal, in this little scene?
In that sense that this fellow Sir Peregrine clearly has more than he needs, I'm kind of halfway looking for small things that I can pilfer, while he and Osto are deep in discussion and paging, presumably paging over Narl's bestiary.
Yeah, it's great. Go ahead, do a handful. What was it?
A 4.
A 4. Go ahead and mark a token. You're looking around and you see what appears to be a beautiful glass egg, and it's on a little stand, so it sits. And the glass egg is filled with water, and inside there is a tiny little, a little nymph or a naiad, but very, very small and very, very alive. And sort of clearly trapped inside this glass egg, right? What do you do?
What's the scale of this? Chicken egg, ostrich egg?
Oh, probably I don't know, somewhere in between that, I think. Yeah. Okay. Like a Fabergé egg.
Got it. So, Sir Peregrine, this egg here is curious, and I want to know more about it. But it also reminds me of a thing. Part of the reason I came to Ambaret, I was told that there's a gorgeous reliquary that just must be seen. That is within the Grand Basilica. It has a mummified hand, fingernails that are reminiscent of beetle shells. Perhaps you know where I can view this artifact, or could make an arrangement for me.
I don't know anything about such things. I'm not much of a religious man. I'm a man of the land, a man of the wilds. I never feel more comfortable than when it is just me and nature. You have to have your wits about you when you're in nature. You have to be ready to fight or flight, as it were.
So tell me, how did you acquire this unusual glass egg?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, I bought that from a merchant in the Rose District. Fascinating, isn't it? Allegedly, the creature inside is perfectly immortal and will never die, never needs to be fed. And I think it's rather unusual. He taps the glass.
Huh. And what would happen when it released?
I don't know, but that's not going to happen, is it?
Oh, no, but I'm curious. Let's look in the bestiary. Perhaps there is an entry.
Ah, very good. Yes, let's. What a great segue. I didn't catch your name.
I am Korkuluk. Korkuluk Ambaret.
Korkuluk, yes, yes, please. Let's sit. Let us have a look through the bestiary now. So, Oster, what are you doing?
So I think, despite the more the nice clothing and the fact that he has his hair actually kind of combed and maybe a little bit of pomade, his backpack is still the one that he always carries. It's all torn up from the thorns last one, and he just kind of shrugs it out, and he keeps looking at the bear, and sets the bag on his lap, and just almost casually, oh yeah, it's I keep it with me. I never want to be too far from it, and pulls out the book and kind of holds it out for inspection, but not quite for taking.
Let's cut back over to Diane. So Diane, this young woman, she tells you that her name is, let's see, her name is Shiera. I'll type that for you. She says, so you were under the protection of the Witch of Navask. What does that mean? And how did you get her mark?
So Diane is a little bit confused about at that because like the whole village was under the witch's protection. So if she doesn't know that, he's not sure how she knew her.
Well, she'll tell you. She says, well, I was actually raised by the Witch of Navask. I was orphaned at a very young age, and she took me in, and I was something like a scullery maid for most of my youth until I managed to escape, and then Madame Atop found me.
Yes, well, that whole village is, she considers it her domain and demands tribute from us. And in return, she'll cure our ills, make the crops grow better, or so she says. Don't know that I ever saw any of that.
And how did you get this mark?
Apparently my tribute wasn't good enough.
I defied her one day. It was just before I ran away. I grew tired of her cruelty, her malice. I don't know what she got up to beyond her little lair, but I knew that she was no good, and I'd seen too many terrible things. And so I told her off. And then she did this. And now I have been robbed of my natural talents as a result.
It's the same with me. Nothing I make lasts. It all crumbles.
And then at that point, Madam Heathertop says, Shara, come in, please. Come here, come here. You can't see her, she can't see you, but she calls out. She says, there's some men from the Royal Guard at the door. They want to come have a look at the place. And I need everyone to gather in the main room. Dinner's about to be served anyway. Come along, come along. She says, the Royal Guard, that's important. There must be something very serious going on.
So I think this is sort of not spot fictionally, because like we know from the Devil's Bargain that I end up in the linen closet, but fictionally I could just like leave.
You could just leave, but I will put you in the linen closet. I hold the right to put you in a linen closet, Diane. You are going in a linen closet.
Yeah, so I think Diane just like entreats her to hide him.
Right, good. She's like, wait, are they after you?
There was an incident at the palace. It's not a big deal, but they can't find me.
That's why you're skulking around the roofs. That makes sense. Come with me. And she takes you. And you can hear the guards like in another room, like kind of, asking questions, and Madam Heathertop trying to like figure out exactly what's going on, that kind of thing. And there are young women from the school like filing into this main room, and a couple of them comment on you. They're like, to Shiera, they're like, oh, did you look what the cat dragged in? They kind of like giggle or whatever, right? And Shiera's like, shut up. And she's like, she says, okay, I want to continue our conversation, but I can't have you being spotted by the Royal Guard. Go in here. And she opens the linen closet and beckons you in. I assume you go in.
Yeah.
It's like a big wardrobe, like a big tall wardrobe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of hunker down underneath. There's like a shelf up high, and you can kind of hunker down among blankets and pillows and things, right?
Mm-hmm.
She says, "Be very, very quiet." And there's a little bit of a gap, so you can actually look out and get a good view of the room if you need to. Let's cut back over to the other group. Actually, let's take a 5-minute break. Back over at Sir Peregrine's sitting room, where he has a naiad-like creature in a crystal egg and a beast-bitten bear tied up in his living room or chained up in his sitting room. And you're looking over the book, and let's see if there's an entry. Go ahead and roll. How does it work? You roll something, right?
1d6.
Good.
Just do a risk, I guess.
So to Neral's Bestiary, roll 1d6 to find the weakness. I don't remember how do we know if you find the weakness? I've already forgotten the rule.
I think it's on 6.
Oh, on a 6. Okay, let me just pull. I had it written down somewhere. Look up that particular thing.
We've got it in our in Osto's character sheet on the equipment also.
Yeah, it just says roll 1d6, but it doesn't say like what that means, I guess.
Oh, it's kind of cut off. If you look at that box, it says roll 1d6 to find a weakness.
Right, but what do you have to roll? Is what I'm saying. Like, what's the number have to be? I guess is what I can't remember. I think I have it written down in the incursion notes from last time. I just need to look at it real fast.
May not be what you have written down, but I'm picturing it almost as a standard trophy roll where on a 1 through 3 you encounter something horrible. Like it's almost like a mind-bending.
Kind of like that. Yeah.
You're like, oh wait, This is what killed my aunt? Crap.
Oh, the Hudson Manor doesn't actually have a rule written down. I think I just made up something on the spot. So we'll just say that you roll a 1d6, and yeah, I like that. It's actually pretty good. Let's go with that, Brian. Like, it's essentially like a limited hunt roll where there's no chance of losing tokens, right? So I think that's pretty good.
All right. I got a 1.
Okay. I think there is an entry about these creatures, but you're going to learn something terrible as a result. And I will need you to name the creature. That's important. You can do that as a group. And then you're going to learn that this creature is, I'm open to suggestions, but I think there's something like maybe it is like cursed, or releasing it, like releases a curse or something like that.
What if
Or
it like just passively like drains from people that are in its presence?
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. Oh, how about this? The creature has the power of, it's very like psychically powerful and can manipulate you into doing things it wants you to do. And it may very well be manipulating you, Osto, vis-a-vis the bear, vis-a-vis having bad feelings towards Sir Peregrine. None of this could be real. This could all just be the creature's mind games, right? What's the creature called, gang?
Do we know, is this a unique creature, or is this?
I'm sure it's exceptionally rare, but if not unique. Yeah.
Feel free to twist this. What about something like Nuala the Undrowning?
That's pretty good. You like that? Nuala, that sounds familiar. What's it from? Is it from something?
Oh, I think there's an anime with that name.
Okay.
I was trying to take Naiad or Nymph and twist it a little bit, but I think I landed on something that exists already.
It's okay. It sounded familiar. Nuala the Undrowning. I like that. We'll actually put that in the bestiary. I don't think you can really do combat with this thing, but we'll at least note it. Although we don't have any more space. Oh yeah, we do. Good. Love that. So, Osto, what do you do with this information? Like, what are you thinking right now?
He'd kind of be staring down at it with knit brows, like, is the crystal containing it keeping it from doing this, or is this happening now?
I don't
Obviously
think you know.
we were shown,
Yeah.
right? So he's uncertain, and he knows he's feeling violent urges toward this man with the caged animals, and yeah, he's definitely doubting himself with this. And maybe he reads it aloud to make sure Corkle's in the loop.
Corklick, what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, just go with the idea that I'm illiterate, and so you have to read things out loud for me.
Okay.
What are you thinking now?
was initially thinking to steal and liberate this beast, thinking, how great to have an immortal being, sort of feeling gratitude towards me. And now I'm thinking maybe we don't want to carry this thing with us. Drop it while we're running across a rooftop. But I've been clumsy before, and so part of me wonders if this is a way to make an exit. Like I'm hoping to gather some loot from this locale, but I don't know if this is the loot we want.
I'm going to just put a little extra pressure on the situation and say that someone is ringing the door bell. You hear the chung 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 chung. He says, "Reginald, would you see who that is?" He calls out. Back over to Diane. Diane, the young women of Madame Heathertop's school are all sitting down on, there's several like long, bench tables, trestle tables. They're sitting down, and the evening meal is getting ready to be served and that sort of thing, right? And you see some of the royal guard coming into the room, asking questions. Have you seen these people? They look like this. They look like that. The bloodhounds are with them. Diane, you know that those bloodhounds will be able to sniff you out eventually. What are you going to do about that?
Yeah, this is a tricky situation.
Could be a good use for something in your backpack, rifling around.
Well, bear trap could be interesting. Are there more than one hound, or?
I think there's probably several of them. Yeah, probably. Yeah, because there's 3 or 4 guards, and there's probably a few of the dogs as well.
Are any of the guards looking my way?
Not yet, but it won't take long for the dogs to figure out you're there.
Mm-hmm. Is one of the dogs close to the linen closet?
We'll probably be there soon. Yeah, you've got a little bit of time. You got a little bit of time to act here if you want to try to do something preventative.
I'm gonna put the dogs to sleep. Can I do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do a little ritual here in the linen closet. I'm into it. That's good. What could go wrong, gang?
Oh, all right. The dog does go to sleep, but drops in front of the doors to the closet so you can't get out.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
I was thinking similar. It drops right in front of the closet, so you can't get out, and someone knows, like, something in the closet did it. Maybe with its nose pressed up against the crack.
Yeah, that's a good failure condition for sure. I was going to say something like the ritual goes haywire and like everyone falls asleep. Just the whole room just like collapses on the spot, which could be good for you, I suppose. But I think
it's good for me making an escape, not for me continuing my conversation.
Right? Yeah. It may not be like super convenient for like continuing the the scene, Shiera. I suppose, with Shiera. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I would say. The ritual maybe goes haywire. Let's take a look at your. I think you definitely can get a dice for improvisation because you're probably not used to casting rituals in linen closets. I'm guessing. I'm gonna just throw out a guess. In which case, that leads us to devil's bargains. What do we think for devil's bargains? I've got one that I think is pretty good, but I'll wait for Brian or Drew to make an offer.
Maybe you'll leave such a strong scent in the linen closet that the dogs will be like onto you, even if you get away this time.
I had something conceptually similar but mechanically different. It's almost that stereotype image of the piece of toilet paper stuck to the shoe, that some part of the linen closet, a napkin with the monogram of Madame Heathertop's Academy is clinging to your clothing somewhere, and you have no idea as you're walking around.
My offer is no matter what, you discover that Madame Heathertop's school is a coven of witches.
I'll take that one.
Oh, go ahead,
Just
Brian. Like I said,
a question here.
Yeah.
In terms of offering devil's bargains, I don't know if you're like improvising this idea of this coven of witches, or this is actually written into the scenario.
No, I'm totally improvising it.
Devil's bargains go that far narratively down the path. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, totally improvising.
Yeah, I'll take the Coven of Witches. It'll
pretty
make me feel less
good.
bad about stealing from them.
Yeah, fair enough. And of course, you have to take your dark dice, or roll 2 light, 1 dark.
A 6, and it was not the dark die.
Nice, very good. We'll come back to that. Someone has rung the front bell at Sir Peregrine's, and you hear Reginald say, "Sir, it's some fellows from the King's Guard. Do you want me to let them in?" And then you just hear them say, "Move out of the way," and they just come in. Right? And they're kind of clumping down the hall. They will be in your room that you're at directly, shortly. You also hear the panting and of the dogs as well. In fact, you can hear them say, "What's that? What's that, boy? Did you find something? Are you onto something?" Yeah.
Time to roll.
What do we do?
The room that we're in, what kind of egress options are there?
Back out into the hall and back up the steps to the roof.
So no window?
Yes. But I think you have to back. You will. It's pretty far down, but you get back up to the roof pretty easily.
All right. Hearing the noise, and upon confirmation that it is definitely the guards.
I wouldn't say it's a window. It's more of like a terrace doors thing.
Right.
Okay.
Peregrine, is that arrowhead on the terrace right there? I'm trying to beckon Peregrine to join me on the terrace.
He says, but that's impossible. He couldn't have escaped his cage.
I rush over to the terrace dramatically.
What are you trying to get him to do?
What are you trying to follow me to the terrace?
That's a risk roll because this is suspicious seeming. What could go wrong here, Drew and Blaine?
He could get very suspicious and summon the guard.
Yeah, I think it's probably something along those lines. And we also find out that Sir Peregrine actually is no joke. He's a really talented like warrior. And so if there's no other what could go wrong here options, yeah, gather your dice.
I'm seeing skill in both mimicry and obfuscate, which seem halfway relevant to trying to feign this.
Yeah, I would probably say like obfuscation feels right. What are you trying to get him on the terrace for? What are you trying to accomplish ultimately?
I think that we just kind of don't care for this fellow, and we're thinking to defenestrate him, leaving him on the pavement as a distraction for the guards. They hear the thump on the pavement outside. Clearly, they're going to go investigate that.
Or yeah, because there'll be a cry and a scream as well, right?
Yeah.
Or there'll be a hue and cry that'll go up. Okay, I kind of like this as a way of like getting the guards off your tail. It's pretty dangerous, but I'm into it. Yeah, okay. So devil's bargains. My devil's bargain is it will work, but you still have to go a round of combat with him. Or no matter what, you have to go a round of combat with him.
What if it works, but he survives? So the charges against us are that much worse.
So no matter what, he's not dead. It's pretty good. Yeah. Any offers, Blaine?
No, I'm not having any luck with devil's bargains today.
So you got 2 offers on the table, Brian. What do you think?
I kind of like the notion that he survives and is this
Ongoing problem. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think you're definitely risking your mind or body because I do think I think he's a dangerous fellow, especially if you're going to be like throwing him off the terrace. So 2 light, 1 dark. Go for it.
Six on the light.
Dice are very kind to you today. Give me the scene. What does that look like?
So in heading towards the terrace here, I use sort of my skill in mimicry to make a little bit of a bird rustling, feathery kind of noise, some clacks that might be talons landing on a balcony. I say, Sir Peregrine, he's right here. Arrowhead, you must retrieve him quickly. And as Sir Peregrine comes to join me, I'm going to slide a leg out and then reach around his shoulder and give him a helping hand over my leg and the edge of the terrace.
He screams, and there is a cry goes up from the streets like, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" And you hear the guards say, "What was that? What was that?" And and he's like, "You all here, 3 of you go down there, see what that was about. I'll continue taking a look. I'll give the place a quick scan." And he's like, "Come on, Bertha, his dog." So you've got 1 guard and 1 dog up here, Osto. What do you do?
Release button.
Yeah. I'm going to walk over to the bear and hope that this is not a manipulation and it is as it seems. And I'm going to assume I have my warhammer with me. Kind of just take that off the strap in my backpack and try and bring it down on the chain.
I like it. I think there's a danger of releasing the bear just because it's a bear, and we don't really it's a little ambiguous, like what's going on here with the bear. So I like all that. What could go wrong? Blaine and Brian.
It could be a not real bear.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. It's a stuffed bear or something. Yeah, it'd be pretty good.
Is there? I don't know a lot about beast bitten culture. Is it possible that this bear has tangled with you in the past and you don't recall it?
It's an
Or
enemy
that,
bear.
yeah, or that it, which can make things get really bad for us, or that it sees you in your cured state as a far lesser being.
Oh, that's, yeah, I like that too. Or like some kind of heresy or something. Yeah, it's pretty good. Like all that. Those are all some good options. Let's take a look at your, assuming you're using strength or whatever here, right? Destruction. Yeah.
Yes.
Devil's bargains. I kind of like the kind of where Brian was going with that. And I would say, yeah, no matter what, this bear views you as lesser because you're cured. This is all assuming it's real.
Yeah, I'll take that. It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any other offers on the table, but
No matter what, Nuala gets free.
oh, that's pretty good too. Yeah, because Nuala would be getting what she wants, right? Ultimately, so that's also pretty
I don't
good.
think anything better than that.
All right, 2 offers.
I think I'll go with the bear. Might have use for Nuala yet. So
Are you gonna try to swipe Nuala if? Good.
all right.
And
So
I think you're
2.
doing two light, 1 dark on this.
Okay. 4 dark.
Is that higher than your current?
It is.
All right, your ruin
Yeah.
goes up. Yeah, I think where the ruin comes from is I think the bear attacks you. Like you free it, and it just like does this like it just does like a disgusted sneer and just swings a paw at you and like catches you, grazes you on the chest or the shoulder, that kind of area, just and kind of tosses you to the side. And then it sort of bounds for the hallway and is tangling with the guard and the dog.
Grab the egg and run, right?
Yeah, it sounds like grab the egg and run is the plan. Are you doing that?
I'm all for it.
Yep.
Yeah, so whoever's going to grab the egg, put Nuala the undrowning in your equipment, your found equipment. And
What do you want? Do you want it us or do you want me?
I think Osto's going to be busy making sure he has the book back in his bag.
All right, I'll take the egg.
So, Diane, you're sitting on a 6, right? Yeah, you have full success. Describe your ritual and how it saves you from the dogs.
Yeah, I think we've done this one before, but I think it has to be changed a little bit. So like he had a little scrap of cloth that he described that ritual circle, which he's still using. But I think in order to like not have everybody know that the dogs just got put to sleep by a spell, he like takes a knife and like cuts off part of the circle, and it makes the spell a little bit weaker. And that makes it so the dogs just get really sleepy, and then they just like curl up and lay down. So that like deceives the guards into thinking, oh, there's just nothing interesting here to them.
Nice, good, I like it. At this point, though, there is a fair amount of commotion coming up from the streets. You can hear people on the ground saying like, I think someone threw him from the terrace. There's something going on up there. And then we also hear like bear battle going on up in the apartment. And there's just it's just a chaotic situation. But the refrain is rooftops, 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 like go up to the rooftops. Shiera, like once the guards are kind of like, kind of pulled away by that, Shiera will come to the wardrobe and she'll say, I, she's like, you can't stay here, but I can help you.
Sounds like my friends are about to leave without me anyway.
She's like, and she kind of like, she says, you'll come back for me?
Come with me.
All right, I will. And then she says, don't be startled. And she just like she just like collapses. Her gown just like collapses. Like she just disappears. Like she's sucked into it. And then her dress just like flutters to the ground. And then a little black cat crawls out from under the dress and hops up onto your shoulder. And some of the other girls see this and they just smile knowingly. There's clearly more going on at Madame Heathertop's than meets the eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I'll rush for the roof and just on the way try and see if there's anything I can, like, you know,
you can do a hunt roll. You can do a hunt roll real quick on the way out if you want, or spend a token, just grab something.
I don't have any tokens.
Okay.
That's why I want to do the hunt roll.
Do the hunt roll.
All right. Improvisation?
Oh,
sort
yeah,
of like grab something as a...
Oh, yeah, it's a rush, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm grabbing something and hoping it's valuable is what's going on here.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a 4.
You get your token, but you encounter something terrible. I think I'm just going to take that opportunity to sort of just really advance this whole rooftops guard situation. You grab something. You can look at it later. And I think you maybe got grab I think you grab just like a pewter milk jug or something, right? And whether it has any value or not, we'll figure out at some point. But you just grab it and you're out of there. You all meet up on the rooftop of the school, and guards are already like collecting down below, making the streets impossible. And some are coming up on the rooftops as well. Some through the apartment, some through, also you hear screams of bear down below as well. But some through the apartment, some up from the side of Madame Heathertop's. Here is the way this works. You can combat these guards, but they have a special defense called squad goals that basically, if you combat them, you only get to roll if your attack would hit all of them at once, right? So like just regular one-on-one won't work. You can't defeat them that way. It has to be something big and massive that you attack them all at once with. The crane is your prop there that might be helpful. But in any case, or something else you can come up with. Or you can engage a special roll called the pursuit roll. And the pursuit roll is kind of like a combat roll, but it's just to escape the guards or any monstrosity in this, or any danger in this this incursion. So it's kind of up to you all how you want to go about it.
So as we're fleeing from Sir Peregrine's back to the rooftop of Madame Heathertop's Academy, I want to grab that cage with Arrowhead, which leaves us standing on the rooftop with a glass egg with a immortal naiad in it. A bird cage, and
the cage is big. Like that's big. You can grab it, but it's like big. Like it's gonna be like
got it.
Yeah, it's gonna slow you down.
Maybe we just pop the door on that and let Arrowhead escape and cause a little bit of.
Just let Arrowhead be free.
Free Arrowhead, be free. Because I see that we're sort of liberating half of the downtrodden of the what is this called, Silver Terraces district of Ambaret. But we also are sitting on 3 hunt roll tokens, so
yeah,
it might be prudent for us to just burn those and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, so that's another option as well. Hunt roll tokens, do the pursuit roll, or if you want to try to fight them, you can.
Asta would definitely want to, at the very least, free the bird. So
I'll give you that for free. You can just, if you're just going to free it, that's no problem. If you're just going to smash open the cage and let it go.
How does that sound?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I'd contribute a hunt token if we want to just advance, or also be willing to run.
How do you feel, Blaine?
I'm a little bit nervous about my gold because I don't have any loot except for that hunt token. But other than that, we can try and make that up in later things. It's just we can't come back, so I want to be a little bit more careful.
Sell Shiera to a witch hunter. I'm not being serious there.
We do have a glass egg with a naiad, and it's got to be worth something.
Yeah, if it's real. Yeah. I just also increased my burdens recently, so it's.
Oh yeah, Diane has 6 burdens. Yeah. So, but you all have some treasure about you, though. I mean, it's not like you're all broke right now, collectively at least. Well, so it's pursuit roll tokens. Sounds like you're not interested in trying to like mass scale attack them.
Yeah, I'd kind of want to try and hold off on the tokens personally and to do the pursuit roll.
Should we try and get to that crane and use the crane then?
For that, I am good at destruction.
Yeah, we can at least check it out.
Crane.
All right, so you're going to the crane. What are you hoping to like? The crane currently has in its holding or lifting a large pallet of bricks and lumber right now. You can see that just before you even get over there.
Am I correct that we're kind of clambering rooftop to reach it?
Yes.
So my hope would be that we can manipulate that thing to destroy the path that is behind us, preventing guards from reaching us.
I kind of like that. Like you destroy, you smash up a little wooden footbridge area or something. I kind of like that as the. I think I like that as the action in the pursuit roll. To be honest, I feel like the pursuit, using that as the fictional positioning for the pursuit roll, feels pretty good. Let's talk about the pursuit roll. Let me tell you the rules of it. So the pursuit roll. Pull it up here. During this incursion, the players can attempt at any time to flee a monster unless otherwise noted. And here we use monster in the very technical sense, losing it among the gables and turrets of the neighborhood instead of directly confronting it. The pursuit roll functions as a combat roll. Players describe how they put their characters at risk of injury in their breakneck flight across the rooftops. Note that this is an excellent time to elicit descriptions of swashbuckling feats of parkour from players inclined to that sort of thing. Players should discuss this option openly. They must all flee together to exercise this special rule. You build the combat roll as normal, but when you would succeed in overcoming their endurance, you have given them you've lost them. They will not find you again in this incursion. So basically, by doing the pursuit roll, you free the guards are no longer an issue, basically, at least for the remainder of the incursion. They might still be an issue in the city in general, but not for our purposes. If a character drops out of the pursuit roll as they would from a combat roll, they must describe how they leave the others behind to be caught, either by bolting to a hiding place or simply pulling ahead rather than staying with the group. And so,
could we destroy the rope holding, or the chain, whatever is holding the bricks, and drop the bricks on our pursuers? Would that be a combat?
that would be the combat version of this. Yeah, if you're trying to actually defeat them. Yeah. That's kind of where we're at right now. Run away or actually try to like crush them with the bricks, I guess.
Open to either.
Yeah, no preference.
The problem is you basically get like one roll, right? Because there can't be a second round of combat. So if you don't do it on the first one, because you no longer have another pallet of bricks, right, to make that attack again. So that's the trade-off. You got to do it in one shot. They're 10, by the way.
I mean, how often do we get the opportunity to drop a load of bricks on a bunch of royal guards?
Yeah, seize the day, drop a load of bricks.
Guys have been very kind to you so far. So how are you otherwise vulnerable, the three of you? Like, tell me how you're vulnerable and we'll do weak point.
Maybe to like get it in place, we have to move the crane, and that puts me in a precarious balance spot where I'm like leaning over an edge.
Nice, I like that. What about you, Corklick?
I'm worried mine's too similar. I was going to say that I'm kind of like, climbing up into this crane structure, not quite sure what ropes or straps are.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And might just be in the wrong, like holding onto a thing that moves, essentially. Like when you're on that plane that says, do not step here, and I'm stepping there.
Right, exactly. That's good. Osto, how are you going to be vulnerable? Sounds like you're doing the actual mechanism, Osto.
Could be, yeah, I cut the wrong thing and maybe it whips back at me.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you have to kind of get control of it again or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty good. Everybody roll weak point. Let's see what we're looking at. Two, 1, and 4. Great. And then Osto, do the honor of rolling the combat, please. Combat 3.
7.
The result was 7. That is not enough. Describe how this doesn't work. And then, did we get in the? And whoever had a 2 is taking 2 hits too. That's Corkalook. Corkalook, you're going to describe how you're getting hurt right now as well. Kick it off, Osto.
So I think when he hits maybe one of the ropes or chains that actually is part of the crane mechanism, not the part holding the bricks, and it causes the whole crane to swing and not actually hit the enemy at all.
Nice. Diane, what are you doing in this moment? You don't get hurt, but what are you doing? It's
clinging to the crane for dear life as it swings.
Yeah, good. Corklick, you're going to take 2 hits unless you mark armor. What's going on with you?
Yeah, this is a fine time to mark armor. I'm envisioning, as you're swinging this crane with this pallet of bricks on it, that bricks are just sort of spilling off haphazardly and just peppering me from above. And it seems almost comical to have the colander serving its purpose as a head safety garment, but it seems appropriate too. So this colander is just like a ting ting crack, and then like a handle breaks off of it, and another brick finally hits it and just shatters it into pieces. And I'm still getting covered in dust and kind of my vision occluded by clay powder flying up in the air.
I love it. It's great. That did not work. The guards are, some of them are clambering up the crane to get you. You're gonna have to like jump off the crane and try to get away here, and race across the rooftops, top of the world. The pursuit roll. Let's read this again. How are you at risk of injury in your breakneck flight across the rooftops? Say it and then roll a weak point.
So when leaping from one roof to another, Osto could like smack his foot at a weird angle against the wall and then twist or break an ankle.
Nice. Diane, how are you vulnerable? How are you risking yourself?
I think Diane is using the spear as like a pole vault and taking larger jumps that are riskier.
Nice. And Corkuluk.
Picturing the proportions are a little different than a normal human, that in leaping, my legs are narrow enough, I might just accidentally like stuff a leg right down a chimney top.
I love it. This is great scenes. I love all this. What are we looking at for a weak point here? Osto has a 5, not great. Oof. Diane has 5, not great, and a 2 for Corkuluk. Let's do the thing. How about Diane? You roll this time. It'll be combat 3, although it's not technically a combat roll.
That's 8.
8. That is not enough to escape, but fortunately, you did not roll anyone's weak point. Let's just have a little bit of scene. I kind of love what you've all started to set up here a little bit. Kick it off, Corkuluk. How does this go in the beginning?
Beginning of this sort of attempt to escape.
The chase, yeah. We could go as far in the chase as you want. Like this is
You got it.
The whole scene.
All right. I hit one of those points where there's a gap in the building, do a heroic leap, but kind of belly flop and just skid across the sort of asphalt or tar, whatever's on their roof, and kind of stick up. My beautiful gambeson is now kind of like smeared with just pitch, and I've got clay dust in my head, and I'm just having a bad day. But there's no time to think about that right now, so I got to keep running.
Gotta keep running. Pick it up from there, Diane. What does it look like as you're running away?
I think like Diane's getting good ground, it seems like, but there's just like too many of them, so they keep like cutting off his escape, so he has to find a new path. So it's just like, like turns a corner. Oh, there's a guard. Okay, I guess I'll go this way now.
Great. And Osto?
I think Osto keeps not quite making a jump and having to scrabble up, and it's slowing him down and making it that much more tense.
Great. Corkuluk, you do the second roll. 4 dice, combat 4.
Oh dear God. That's my own weak point 3 times.
You got hit hard. Damn. What is that? Doesn't kill you, does it?
No, I'm gonna burn up my last piece of armor here. That gambeson just mentioned. It was
for viewers of the video, that was 3 2s and a 1. So Corkuluk took 3 hits. And you definitely did not succeed. Describe the how does this mess kick off, Corkuluk?
Right. So you remember I'm wearing my gambeson, which is braided corn husks, beneath this beautiful white tuxedo that I'm been so proud of, and it's like the pitch and the tar. It's kind of glomming things. It's making it harder for me to move. I go to attempt another leap, and the tails in the tuxedo get caught on just some weird piece of hook on masonry bit, and it's just, as the guards are sort of lunging to grab me, I kind of do that like Superman, like rip open the garments and leave them holding the garments, and I tumble down to the next rooftop.
Nice, I love it. Pick it up from there, Osto. What's happening now?
So with all the smashing into the sides of buildings and his already bloodied, scratched chest, he is just, Osto is slowing down, and guards are getting closer.
Diane.
Yeah, Diane's just continually getting cut off, and like he's running out of areas to escape through. So it's like he still has options, but they're getting narrower and narrower and tighter and tighter.
We're now up to 5 combat dice. Osto, take it away. Anyone can bail from the pursuit, by the way. You can leave your companions. You can basically pull away from the group and give them your weak point if you need to.
Okay, 11.
Ah, good.
But Blaine and I both get hit.
It looks like
I'm getting hit.
yeah, Brian's getting hit. Yeah, Corkle's getting hit.
Yeah, which will bring me to 5.
You're on the verge, but you escape. So, start it off, Corkle. What's going on? Those 3 tokens are looking a lot better, by the way.
Yeah, I said we should burn the hunt roll tokens. Yeah, I just lost. I took what 5, 6, 7 hits in this escape. What goes on? So I'm basically, nearly denuded at this point as mannequins go. How does this go? All right, how about this? I drop this glass liquid-filled egg with Nuala the undrowning within it. And just sort of another bumbled maneuver and totter over the ledge trying to catch onto it, which drops me off a precipice to, I'm assuming we're staying on the rooftops here, but drops me off of a precipice to another building where I take a good hard blow, but I manage to shield the egg from breaking with my own body.
Nice. Diane, how is Shiera doing in the pursuit? I assume she's pretty nimble on the rooftops.
Yeah, I don't imagine she's not still on my shoulders. That would probably be leaving some pretty bad scratch marks.
Right.
Either that, or maybe like he opened his bag and she took her right in there. But no, I think she's like running alongside and just like ducking through narrow ways and maybe like causing distractions that help him break free. And then like at some point she just like ducks through like a narrow crevice that he can't follow through, and then we meet up on the other side, and then like she's actually in her back to human form, and she just like pulls him into like a hidden place, and the guards go past and miss us, and then we just like sneak away, and she goes back to cat form, I assume.
Yeah, that's great. And Osto, wrap it up here. You're going to escape the guards permanently for the rest of the incursion. You've earned that much at least. And you are exiting the Silver Terraces to the next district. What does this look like? How do you shake them for good?
So I think one of them actually does manage to catch up to Osto, and there's a slight scuffle, and he kind of, the guard just thrusts a dagger right at Osto's chest and catches him in the breastplate, which is now just completely ruined. And Osto manages to kind of just swing them both around, and the guard falls, and Osto leaps away and manages to catch up to the others and around a corner maybe, so they're out of sight again.
That's great. We're going to be entering the next set. The next set is called... What's the next set called?
Before that, I did forget to say how Diane got hit, because he did get hit as well.
Oh, you got hit as well? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened to you?
Yeah, I think like in part of this, it was he got really close to a guard and was like tackled against the wall. And I think like that's when Chiara cat form scratches his face up and
Yeah.
they managed to get up.
Nice. Good. I love it. Awesome. Yeah, so the next set is called Climber's Rest. And the set goal is identify a route to the Grand Basilica. You can see the Grand Basilica in the distance. You're nowhere near it. And if you want to go after what you're trying to go after, Korkaluk, this set goal will allow you to get to the Basilica. So let's take a 5-minute break and we'll come back. Play. Well, Climber's Rest. Set goal, identify a route to the Basilica. Climber's Rest is the nickname given to the tall but narrow row houses and cramped but tidy shops of this prosperous neighborhood of ambitious merchants, trade persons, and minor government officials. The buildings are nondescript but well cared for, neither Baroque nor decrepit. A broad plaza separates the roofs of this enclave of strivers from the towering, flying buttresses of the Basilica. So, you can hear down below the sound of a family singing hymns to the sisters, and the solid brick chimneys are carrying the aroma of stews and roasts skyward. I will tell you, as a side goal perhaps, that if you can manage to get yourself invited to someone's dinner and enjoy said dinner, I will let you reduce your ruin by 1. The packed-in, peaked roofs of the receding tableau of peaks and valleys, or form a receding tableau of peaks and valleys, like looking at frozen waves. There is a few things to be aware of. You see some scaffolding, a solidly built framework of wooden slats and sturdy poles covering the facade of one of the row houses, extending to the very top of the roof. Entrance to the street below is via ladder, which is not present right now. In a bit of a symmetry with the last set, you see a simple but sturdy pigeon coop holding a flight of homing pigeons on one of the roofs. And there's a door to access the attic of the house right below it. There's also a barrel, presumably containing pigeon feed.
All right, gentlemen. I will admit that our current predicament is largely my fault, that I gazed too lovingly upon another painting by Agino, and that, one turn led to another. But I'm a little bit beaten to hell here, and Patience Davies has given me a job to do, and I'm not in a position where I can let her down. I need to get to the Basilica. I need to get my hands on that reliquary, and we need to get it out of here.
I will tell you that getting your hands on the reliquary and delivering it to Patience Davies will satisfy all of your burdens for the incursion. That will be her payment to you.
If I go back to Fort in this state, I'll be out on my ass before you know it. I'll have to give up everything, start over. Can't afford to do that. So as long as you can perhaps put some other wealth in my hands along the way, I'll help you out.
You have to see her carriage. She can provide for us, I guarantee.
Sorry, is she satisfying just Corkuluk's burdens or all of
Everyone's.
Okay, everyone's.
You
Oh,
your payment for retrieving the reliquary.
okay.
I'm going to gush about her lovingly for a little while. She's very kind and considerate. She has a lovely carriage. Once in a while, she turns a guard into a pile of insects and such. Just you know.
Diane shares a
Good,
long-suffering look with the cat that's perched on his shoulder. I feel like we've heard that story a few times in the weeks.
I imagine, like in the little off scenes or little off, side moments, that Corkulek probably talks about Patience Davies all the time, right?
Yeah, so maybe actually he shares that long-suffering look with Ostos.
Yeah, exactly.
And not very subtle rolling of the eyes.
Indeed. Oh, something else you see. There is a little shrine, a modest altar, and competently painted effigy of Sister Faustina, patron saint of couriers, nestled under an awning on a cramped attic terrace.
Saint of Couriers sounds enticing, given our current role of sort of shepherding things out of the city.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of a distinction between thieves and couriers.
Not all couriers are thieves, but all thieves are usually couriers. Is that how that works?
And I will remind you that you can look down and see through one of the windows of the row houses a family enjoying their roast for the evening, getting ready to. Plates are being set. Looks awfully good, smells awfully good. As noted, you can smell it coming from the chimneys. This is a solid upper middle class neighborhood, and folks are tucking in for their fine meals, with their fine but not ostentatious, not like in the Silver Terraces, meals. Or Knob Hill, you can call it now. So, Corkulek, what do you do?
I would like to take a look at that shrine.
Yeah. You can reach it pretty easily. It's nestled under a little awning on a terrace. There doesn't appear to be anyone around. The terrace is connected. The room it's connected to is dark. There's nobody in that room unless they're just sitting in the dark, I suppose. Give me a hunt roll if you want to hoist yourself down there and take a look.
All right, I shall do that. Sorry, is hunt, do the dice matter? Just one die? One?
You get one die automatically, and then one die if you're taking advantage of a skill or a piece of equipment.
Does this tie into artifacts or myths?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll take that.
So hunt 2. 4 and a 3.
You get a token that you encounter something terrible. While that's going on, what are you doing, Austin?
I think he's between muttering about cranes being much more complicated than he expected. He is looking around and definitely enticed by the smell of the food wafting up. Maybe he's just kind of sitting on the edge of the roof and just staring at it. And yeah, recovering.
Are you looking around for something, or are you just kind of off in the distance?
I think he'd be looking for, like, if he can see some kind of way in that they can get, again, off the rooftops or into someone's thing. Maybe they have some sort of tell that maybe they really like mannequins, or
Oh, yeah.
uh,
Free the bee spitting poster written on the hanging on the wall.
Children playing with action figures that are in the shapes of mannequins.
Right, yeah. So are you using your spyglass, I guess? Is that what's going on here? Or you just
yeah. He'll use the spyglass again.
go for it? Roll.
5.
Nice. But you encounter something terrible. Take a token. We'll come to your terrible thing in a minute. And what are you doing in the meantime, Diane?
I'm imagining like we've regrouped and had some time and probably swapped stories a little bit. And I think Diane wants to check out the egg with Nuala in it and like try and figure out like if it's actually being contained by the thing or if we do have to do something else. And if we do have to do something else, he might try and do it, but that's gonna.
Yeah, I like that. Corporal, I assume you're cool with handing off the egg to Diane for this inspection.
Yes, but in a very gentle, sort of caring, like, take care of this. Don't drop it down.
Indeed. Let's have a hunt roll.
I'm justifying knowledge or spirits for the second day.
Oh, spirits. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah.
Also a 5.
All right. Let's circle back over to the shrine. You are on this little terrace, which connects to a darkened room or house of some sort. And the shrine itself is like I said, it's a fairly modest altar. There's an effigy of Sister Faustina. It's posed like many of the saint statues are always posed with their arms crossed, holding two like symbols of their office or whatever, right? And Sister Faustina is holding a feather and a scroll. And it's a small effigy, probably like, I don't know, maybe 15 inches or so in height. And there's a few like little offerings around the base of the altar, some candles and incense and things like that. At a glance, just looking it over, there doesn't seem to be anything particularly special about it. I will tell you that there is a dog on the other side of a glass front door on the terrace that goes inside the house. There's a dog on the inside of the house, and it's just sort of staring at you. I think you don't give off a particular smell because you're a mannequin, or at least you don't smell like a person. And it seems like maybe he can't quite, like he sees you, but if you're not moving, he doesn't really know that you're like, alive or whatever. Like you could just be another statue or something. What do you do, Corkluck?
So this entrance to this house is, well, it seems like the two are affiliated. The shrine is adjacent to the house, so that it must be owned by the people in that house, right?
Yes, yeah, it's like just their personal little shrine. Yeah.
Okay. The offerings that are left, what form do they take? What do they look like?
Mostly just like offerings of candles and incense. Nothing particularly valuable, but just that you can tell at a glance anyway.
I think kind of with my nature and some skill in mimicry because of that nature, I want to try and backtrack to the pigeon coop, find a feather that's dropped off, and if nothing else, since my hair is braided corn fibers and such, pull off some of that to make a kind of a mimicry of a piece of paper, and leave a tiny feather and a tiny piece of paper at the foot of the statue.
You muted.
I think there's a problem though if you start moving that the dog might start barking, which could be an issue. How might you try to deal with the dog right now?
All right. I'm beaten up enough already. I'm gonna yank off one of my own fingers, like that's sort of a chew toy size, and give it a little wiggle so the joint jiggles back and forth. And then kind of wiggle it, and he sort of behind a glass door. So I'll kind of walk over and try and, like, open the door and hand the chew toy finger into the.
Good. This is technically a risk roll, but I kind of just like it in the scene. I don't think I want to roll here. I just like the imagery of this. It doesn't feel like the stakes are that high. Yeah, you could do that, and the dog will be chewing on your finger, and you can kind of slink off. That's good. Let's go back over to Fausto or Osto. Osto, you are looking around, looking into the windows, and you see your friend, the man with a shock of white hair. Do we name him?
I did not.
We'll name him Alistair. Alistair seems to have done pretty well for himself. He's sitting at the head of a table. He has kids. He has a wife. They have food on the table. They're laughing and enjoying themselves. That's something your brother doesn't get to do right now. You're not exactly living the high life either. What do you do?
So immediately when he kind of sees the shock of Harry, he gets that kind of cold feeling, and he knows, even before he can see the guy's face, that that's Alistair. And so the first thing he's going to do is he's going to speak to Diane, and he's going to say, I can get us off the streets.
That would be welcome. The wind's a bit biting up here.
I know a guy down there. He's not exactly a friend, but I have a suspicion he'll let me in, let us in. So he would, if Korkuluk is within earshot, he would pass that on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Korkuluk will probably be rejoining you shortly in order to go to the chicken coop, or the pigeon coop. And so if you want to share that information with Korkuluk, I think that's perfectly fine.
Sounds good. I'll be along shortly.
And
yeah,
they would have to find a way down to the street, I guess.
Yeah, you have to find a way down to the street. There actually is a tradesman's ladder nearby. It's currently bridging a modest gap between the eaves of adjacent roofs, but you could, and it's extended about 10 feet of its full 30 feet. You could probably grab that and use that to climb down for sure.
Yeah, he would be doing that.
Diane, let's talk about your hunt roll with the Nuala, the Undying.
The Undrowning.
Undrowning, yeah. You will learn that in this form, Nuala in the egg, essentially is a magic item. And you don't know exactly what it does yet, but you can tell that there's power there. The terrible thing is you have to feed her in order for it to work. And she's already telling you what she's hungry for in your mind. She feeds off of intense grief. She could be kept as a magic item. You don't have to mark burdens to keep her, but you do have to periodically allow her to feed off intense pangs of grief.
Yeah, so a couple trips to the cemetery should be fine.
You get the impression she likes it intense and fresh and raw and red.
Yeah, I don't know if Diane's got a hard enough heart for that, but we'll see.
But in any case, that's what you learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she makes this clear to you as you're sitting here pondering her. And she makes it clear to you that she's willing to share her power if you do these things for her. Do you give Nuala back to Corkuluk, or do you keep it?
Like, I think he'd probably like share what he learned, and like wouldn't offer it, but wouldn't like hold it back if Corkuluk asked for it back.
I think as time plays out, you'll find I'm more than willing to let that thing go.
And so you are climbing down to go to the entrance to the home of Alistair, who has managed to do very well for himself, considering he was an orphan. Remind us the exact nature of your brother's crime and how Alistair was involved. Just a little recap, please, Alistair.
They stole an artifact from someone powerful that was how Osto got cured. But when the authorities came sniffing around, it was only the brother that got arrested.
And I just bet you Alistair has used the proceeds from this artifact to build his life here. Very good. We're nearing the end of the session. I think I'd like to end with, are you just like going to knock on the door, Osto?
I think so.
Yeah. Will he recognize you?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a maid answers. She says, can I help you?
It really takes Osto back because, again, orphan, the fact that there's even someone else opening the door is wow. But he says, yes, I'd like to speak to Al.
Oh, Mr. Alistair, you mean?
Yes, Alistair. Please tell him Nevin's brother is here.
Certainly. And she goes, you hear a cry of disbelief from deep in the house, and then a stomping bump, 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 bump to the entrance. The door flies open. Alistair's staring at you, and he says, "So it is you."
It is me.
I don't have anything to say to you. What do you want?
We're looking for dinner.
Dinner?
Shelter, a place to rest, a place to get off the street.
Why should I help you with those things?
You owe me at least that much.
That feels like a good place to stop. And let's go to Stars and Wishes. Stars, I really like this. This was fun. It was there's a lot of social encounters. We got to see a lot of the city. The rooftops running away thing was kind of fun. Just the whole setup is fun. And I thought you all did a really good job of leading into danger and doing the dangerous thing, which I think always makes it, it's very, very fun. It's not, it's a particularly dangerous thing to do in Trophy Gold, but it's fun that you do it. And yeah, I thought the way that we kind of played with devil's bargains and stuff was really fun to lead to some good story. Wishes, I'm really interested to see how this thing with Alistair goes. And just to have that whole dinner scene, I think that'll be really fun. It feels like it would be a good scene. And yeah, and the Basilica, I know the Basilica is a cool set piece, so I'm pretty pumped about that too. So those are my stars and wishes. Also curious to see where stuff goes with Shiera too. So.
I was going to say, yeah, Shiera, and just the whole, see if the Madame Heathertop's witches come back into play in some way. That would be cool. So I guess that was both a wish and a star.
Yeah. Anything else, or all good?
Well, it's always nice to see characters develop and grow, and so it's fun to see the personas and the sort of backstories growing richer. It doesn't add to the the dice rolling or we got from point A to point B, but it just makes each scene more rich, and so it's fun to see that stuff growing between the characters. And the chase mechanic worked out well. So I was glad to see how that played out. I think I'd read a review that you'd done of it sort of via Twitter or something that gave moments about this scenario. I've not read the incursion, but I remember reading about the chase mechanic, and it's good to see how that plays out.
This is one of the contest winners. So you probably might have heard there too. But.
Yeah. And for wishes, do I have a wish? I don't know, just keep seeing it go along.
Yeah, for stars, I really liked the disparity between like what was going on two opposite sides of the street. Like y'all were having a really intense conversation with this hunter and stole an egg and threw him off the balcony, and I just like hid in a linen closet. Ran away with the milk jug or whatever.
Oh yeah, which is worth 1 gold, by the way.
I thought that was just a hunt token, but so yeah.
Oh, you got a hunt token, but you did grab the milk jug, which you can have for 1 gold. So.
Okay.
No need to spend a hunt token. There were hijinks, right? it was very like hijinks sort of session. It was kind of fun. Don't see that very often in this game. So.
I'd like to give another star to. I just really love seeing Corkluck kind of do things with his mannequinness. Yeah. So the finger was awesome.
Yeah, it's always fun. Super cool. Yeah, that was great. Any other stars and wishes before we go? Or anything else we need to talk about?
I think so.
Okie doke. Well,
From my perspective, just learning trophy better, to see that you can take the devil's bargains and really push the narrative. I didn't quite get that from reading the rules. That was helpful for me. So it's a kind of a star in the sense of I'll use that for down the road.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, I don't remember exactly what the rules say, but like it's in Trophy Dark, at least, I've always played it to where you can go really big with the devil's bargains, right? Because that's kind of like the story, right? Like, if you think about it, if all you did was just run across the rooftops, there wouldn't be much of a story there, right? It's all the stuff that happened as a result of the devil's bargains that kind of created the story. So I think that's a strength of the game. I mean, everybody has to be ready to improvise a little bit, but yeah.
I actually had an interesting conversation about exactly that on the Blades in the Dark Discord server, where I was in a playtest where I had a really good devil's bargain and it got brought up, and it's like the best devil's bargains seem to be the ones that just have broad story consequences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've played this enough now to know that the way it usually starts with a new group, especially, is the devil's bargains are very like, oh, your sword breaks, or oh, you drop something, or whatever. It's that kind of stuff. And then, but like as you play, as you get to learn the characters more, as you get to understand how the rules work and how they interact with each other and with the incursion, the devil's bargains get a lot more interesting. Like the possibilities get more interesting, and it really opens up. And I always like to say that there's a mastery issue with Trophy Dark and Gold, but really with Gold, and that's part of it to me. Like there's this like you as a player get better at like understanding how to manipulate the story with the devil's bargains and with the what could go wrong stuff, right? So the what could go wrong stuff is almost like a conversation starter, right? Because nothing is set in stone. It's just getting everyone kind of thinking about like possibilities and stakes, and then we can kind of take those and refine them into be devil's bargains, or just play with them later or whatever.
It's also just like sort of a GM offload where it's casting to the table.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah. Like this is Trophy Gold is so much easier to run than say Dungeon World, where you have to come up with all the complications yourself, and you have to come up with all the stuff yourself. Like that this is the shared responsibilities. I think Trophy Gold's a much easier game to run than Dungeon World is. So for that reason, I mean, I'm pretty good at running Dungeon World, but I can tell I'm not as I don't feel as much pressure when I run Trophy Gold, because so much of the stuff is written down, and there's so much like table talk about like shaping the story. It doesn't all come from the GM, and so I think it makes it a pleasure to run. So, for that reason, cool. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. This was really fun. I enjoyed the high energy incursion, the running across the rooftops and shenanigans going on inside, dipping into people's houses and stuff. So yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, I have a very, very minor wish, which it's in the past, it's not fixable at this point. But when the devil's bargain was, you end up in the linen closet, I was really, really hoping we just cut back and I'd be in the linen closet, and then we'd have to figure out how I got there.
Work backwards how you got in the linen closet. We like do the devil's
You're probably
bargain.
wondering how I got here.
You do the devil's bargain like 3 sessions down the road. It's like wondering how I got here. Yeah, it's pretty good. I love it. All right, well, you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon, okay?
Thank you too.
Stop this.